everyone, and welcome back to the Andres Escobar Talk Show, Episode 6. This is Julia Laugero, Director of Business Development at Leme Escobar Architecture. Today, we have the special pleasure to introduce you to our guest, Lloyd Goldman, founder and president of BLDG Management. Hi, Lloyd, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Andres.
Very good. It's a pleasure to have you today with us. Today, in today's episode, we will talk about a very special project, very familiar to the three of us, which is Summit, New York City, which quickly became the rental reference in Manhattan, New York. But before digging to the project, let's talk about your personal and business relationship, because I think there are a lot of things that we don't know, and we would love to know more about you guys. So Lloyd, can you tell us how you met Andres and when did you actually start working together?
Well, I probably met him first when I went to one of Stella or Larry Gluck's properties that Andres had worked on. But then we formally met through the process of doing 110 First Street in Jersey City, which is a building that I own and was involved in the construction of. Obviously, I've liked Andres's work, his style, so much that I was thrilled to be able to work with him on 110 First Street in Jersey City and Summit, New York on 43rd, 44th Street.
Well, it was very interesting because the first project that Lloyd mentioned, 110 First Street, is a project in Jersey City that started before the market kind of like collapsed, and every project in the city, both in New Jersey, New York, and the surrounding areas, and the United States for that matter, they got stopped. So that happened somewhere around the 2008, 2010 period of time. And a few years later, Lloyd called me back and mentioned, Andres, we are restarting the project again. We have to just revisit and maybe look at certain differential things. How do we tweak it? There was a specific market. There was a specific marketing team that they had on board. And what we did is we worked together as a team. And that project, they had a lot of personalities that were involved. And I think at that point, Lloyd was building his own development team within the company. And eventually, basically, BLDG took over and they actually concluded the project. So that was kind of like during a transition period, I would say, for BLDG. One of the things that is interesting for people to know is that the relationship obviously started on 110 First Street, and then it moved on to 222 East 44th, which is called the Summit. And one of the things that was very interesting is that there was a lot of participation from Lloyd in terms of how hands-on he was with the project. So he was not just an owner just overviewing through his development team, but more somebody who actually took the helm of the project. And we actually did a lot of work together, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of critiquing, a lot of selections. And it was a very interesting process because the goal that Lloyd had was he wanted to definitely differentiate the product and the project from everything else that's happening in the city. And I think that they were very successful at it. And I think that, as Julia mentioned previously, is one of the, I would say, is the reference for rental properties.
You're right. It was a unique project. At the time we started it, the world was going condo crazy and building large apartments for condo sales. And that's just not the business that I'm in or BLDG is in. And we wanted a rental project that would compete with condos for people who didn't necessarily want to tie up cash in ownership, but wanted to live the lifestyle of a new building and with condo finishes. And it bucked the trend at the time and turned out to be a great plan.
It's impossible. This is a rental building. So it's at a level that surpasses what many people would expect to find, not only in the finishes, but the volume of the lobby, the amenity package. Lloyd is a big fan of basketball, and we have a full basketball court inside of the building. It's an amazing, amazing package I mean, squash courts, gym, you name it. And also the bigger differentiator was that the levels of amenities became like two tiers. You have amenities in the lower part of the building, amenities on the upper part of the building, and they actually serve for different type of activities. So the people in the building have the possibility to just navigate the building in a very interesting way.
Yeah, the lower amenities are really the active sports type amenities. There is a lounge there, which is more of an active lounge with games, pool table, ping pong, that it can have, foosball, and the outdoor deck where there's yoga done, there's a barbecue pit, there's outside television, there's a kids play area, which ties in. And it was that, and the pool is off of that level as well, off of those levels. And then the half of the top floor of the building, which a lot of developers would have used for more luxurious penthouses, we decided to make it an amenity space so that everyone in the building who utilizes the amenities would have access to a luxurious large dining room, a large bar type pub social area, and a large type living room or meeting space, so that they could entertain as if they were living in a 5,000 foot condo, but are living in a, you know, a 700 foot one bedroom or a 1,100 foot two bedroom. And it's turned out to be wonderful. And the math has proven that whatever the number I would have gotten for a very lavish apartments on that floor spread out over the entire building has increased rents on the rest of the building to have access to those items. And it's really wonderful space.
Absolutely. And the other beautiful thing about it, when we were doing the brainstorming with Lloyd and the team, was that that space is kind of like a convertible space. So you could utilize the three various activities: the private dining with a catering kitchen, the lounge area with a beautiful fireplace and the most beautiful view of the East River and the skyline of New York City, and the bar. But you could actually subdivide them or open up the whole space and have a large gathering, which is amazing. And the Chrysler building is kind of like at your hand's reach. Is beautiful. It's probably the best view of the Chrysler building in the entire city of New York. So it's actually quite compelling as a space.
And the unique thing was, when looking at this property and designing it, was the fact that I could have a drive court. So
Yes.
you could actually, but drive courts add you interesting perspectives, because we had a building or a lot that fronted both 43rd and 44th Street. And when I studied drive courts at other buildings in the city that were on two streets, we found that they were being used as a cut through in traffic. And Midtown has very bad traffic a few hours of the day. So we wanted to make sure that this wasn't being used as a cut through by cabs or black car services. So it was an interesting design to have it one side be driving through the garage of the building, so people weren't cutting through. But if you live in the building and you have something dropped off, your car could stay in the drive court for a short period of time, and you know, it's very comforting. It's like being at a luxurious condo with a drive court. And
yeah, it's a drop off that alludes to being dropped off in a very fancy hotel, and it is beautiful. I think it elevates the whole experience of arrival, and people appreciate that.
And there was a bunch of other things we did that we were looking at the ever-changing demographic of the tenants that were renting in the high ends and working in New York City, and we evolved stuff that hadn't been done in a lot of buildings. I mean, when I studied most of the condos and co-ops and the amenity spaces. The lounges were all large. And when you sit in a lounge, you don't invite 40 friends. You sit with 4 or 5 couples, 10 people maybe. So it had to be made into nooks and areas that you could entertain and feel comfortable in. And it works, and including the, the WeWork type office space where we have a tech space that we wanted, most of a large number of our tenants come from the tech world, and they work at home a number of days of the week, and you need a space that not to put on a suit and tie to go into an office, but you need a space you can walk down the hall, get in the elevator, just go to, and not have the distractions of being in your home upstairs.
I have a last question to both of you. What is your favorite part of the project? What is your favorite space area of Summit?
Just seeing how well all of the programming is utilized, that the building is lived in and enjoyed, that in a lot of the other buildings we have, when you put in gyms and workout spaces, and I'm a big believer of not putting them in basements. They should all be active and have light and air, but those buildings, people look at them, they rent in those buildings saying they're going to use it, and they hardly ever use those spaces. Here, all of the spaces get used. And, in doing that, it makes me feel good that we have a concierge service that helps people, book space or work out. And it just, everything is used and working. So people, enjoy the space, and it enabled us to bring in a real professional group to manage the basketball court. So we have NBA players working out there a couple times a week, which is exciting. I mean, there's, for a lot of people to see the best of the best working out in their building and be able to actually run on a basketball court with them a little bit. And being near the UN, the philanthropic events that we do, and we invite people from the building that deal with the UN, it just, all the spaces are utilized, and they're being utilized the way we envisioned, even more so.
I would agree with Lloyd. I think to his point, I mean, there's all the amenities have beautiful light and air. Starting from the lobby looks so expansive because it's totally glazed, and then you look through the lobby into the the reflecting pool, and the height is unbelievable. Then the amenities have all this beautiful character. I really truly love that lobby. I think it's one of the lobbies where I excel the most. I think it's beautiful. It was a little bit difficult to kind of get it the way that we wanted, but it came out just quite perfect. So I think that is the jewel to me of the project. More importantly, I'm glad to hear through many contacts and through the grapevine and through publications how well received this building has been.
Well, Lloyd, thank you so much for being with us. And congratulations again for Summit. I remember the first time I walked in with Andres, I was really amazed by the final results of the project. So again, extremely well done. We absolutely look forward for our next collaboration. And again, thank you for being with us. To all our viewers, thanks a lot for watching, and see you to our next episode. Bye.
Bye. Thank you again. Good luck. Be well.